everyone, not feeling too great at the moment, so this isn't the video I had planned originally for April's video in my 12 months of motivational crafting series. When I opened up Cricut Design Space the other day, after not using it for a little while, I saw there was an update and some tools had moved yet again. They do like shifting them around, don't they? So I thought I'd do a short video going over how you can make changes in the layers panel and then use some of the tools, which may now be under new headings or menus, to rearrange objects your files contain. So let's get started. April's file is Have Only Positive Expectations, and as you can probably see, that the first character of each word spells out hope. I've already uploaded it into Cricut Design Space, opened up the file, and I've resized it so it's 6 by 6 inches. Over in the layers panel, you'll see a main group called Group, and then when we open it up, the sub-layers are all labelled Hope, which is the file name. And when we click on each of these subgroups, you'll see they are in reverse order. This file has been created in third-party software rather than it coming from directly within Cricut Design Space. So files are going to be a little different. So the first thing I'm going to do to make things easier is rename all the individual groups, which contain all the characters for each word. So to do that, all I have to do is click on the relevant group I want to rename and type it in. Today I'm going to simply match the name of the word. So I'll rename them to Have Only Positive, and I'll just put EXP for expectations, because it's a long word. Then I'm going to rearrange the order, and to do that you simply just have to hold down the word or the object that you want to move with your left mouse button and drag it into place, so it will match the text on screen. I don't need them to be in a master group, so I will ungroup them from that, but they are still in their groups, so each group contains the letters relevant to that word. So the Have has the HAVE, for example. The first layout change I'm going to make today is have the text going over 2 rows. So we will have the Have Only on 1 row, and then I'm going to put the positive expectations underneath that. And obviously I want this to be lined up evenly, so I want the Have Only to be centered over the positive expectations. But I can't do that simply by selecting everything and then using the alignment tools, because they're all individual objects. So to get around that, it's very simple. All we have to do is select both the Have and the Only and group those together, and then do the same for the positive and expectations. So now instead of 4 objects, we've only got 2 objects. And then we can go into the alignment tool and center things. And then once that's done, we can then ungroup those 2 little subgroups that we created, and it takes it back to 4 individual objects, and the name of those objects haven't been changed in any way. Sometimes if you want to go back to your starting point, it's simply easier to reopen the file again from your upload section, as it will stay there until you physically delete it. But if we wanted to put this back into a 6-inch square layout, but say for example we wanted it in reverse order, then we can make use of the Shapes menu and grab a square from there. Why would we want it in reverse order? Bear with me a few moments and I will show you. So I'll open up the Shapes menu, grab a square, and then I'll resize it to 6 by 6, and I'm using that same size because I know that's what my objects or my text is sized for. I'm going to change the filled colour of the square to white, and I want it to be behind everything else, so I can either drag it so it's at the bottom in the layers panel, or with it selected, go to arrange and move to back. Next I'm going to drag my objects so that they're roughly placed within the square. I'm not worried at this moment too much about spacing. The important thing here is to get them purely in the confines of the square in the order that we want them. I'm then going to select all my objects, so that's all the text and the square, go to Align and Align Left, so they're all at the same starting point. And then next I'm going to take the expectations and the square, and I'm going to align to top, and then I'm going to select the have and the square and align that, instead of to the top, to the bottom. And next I'm going to select all the text objects but not the square and go to distribute vertical. Now unfortunately distribute vertically or horizontally isn't perfect because it looks at the overall size of each object that it's distributing, and so in cases like this we've got the P in expectations and the Y in only that skew it a little bit, so that's why it looks off. We've got a few options that we can use to even things out. The first being is you can turn on the grid. In this case you would turn off the square or hide it so that you can see behind your text. Then you can use the small squares on this grid to move it around and even things out, and you can then be as close as possible. Personally, I'm not that fussy, believe it or not. Many would disagree with that, and what I would do is simply use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move things into place and just take a look at it visually. So I'll move it into place, I'll then stand back slightly, and if it looks okay then I'll go with it. And the reason I like to stand back or lean back is because that's how most people are going to view it. So it's always better if you look at things from a distance. Now I know you're probably all still wondering why I wanted them in reverse order. So let's turn off the grid. I'm going to select them all, and the square is still hidden here, and I'm going to move them over so they're right on the 0 mark in the x-axis, and that's going to help us with our spacing to move each word over by the same amount. So each will be 1 inch over from the word before it. So for example, we'll take the only, and we want to have it 1 over from this start of the have. So in the x-axis box, we'll enter 1. Then when we do the positive, although we want it 1 inch over from the only, we want it 2 inches over from the have, which is at 0. So we do 2. And then for expectations, we would put in 3, because we want to move it 3 inches over from its starting point. And now it reads as if we are climbing those steps of hope towards our expectations. But I won't turn this into a TED talk. The aim of the video is to purely show you how you can use the built-in tools that come within Cricut Design Space, and they are available in other software as well. So you can edit and change, in this case a very simple decal, to give it a different layout to how it started. So don't be afraid to play around with these things, because as I said earlier, you've always got the original file that you can go back to, and you're not changing anything within the program permanently. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe. Bye for now.